All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into Catch-22.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
most of you have probably read it,
Sure.
maybe even seen the movie. We're going deeper here.
Okay.
We're going right to the source, excerpts straight from Joseph Heller himself
Right.
to find those hidden gems that maybe you missed the first time around.
Yeah. Catch-22 is just such a brilliant work because
Right.
it really is so much more than just a wartime comedy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really a psychological study
Yeah.
disguised as satire,
Right.
a commentary on the systems that govern us.
Mhm.
And that's something that I think we can all relate to.
Right. It's like those systems you and I run into every day.
Exactly.
So let's just drop right into Heller's World War II,
Okay.
the tiny Italian island of Pianosa,
Right.
and the U.S. Army Air Corps.
Yep.
Our main man, Yossarian, he's a bombardier,
Okay.
and he wants to live.
Yeah.
He does not want to fly any more missions.
Right.
He's just trying to stay alive.
He's trying to get out of there.
Yeah, and that's where things get really, really complicated.
Yeah.
Heller introduces this idea of Catch-22,
Yes.
this rule that makes escape impossible.
That's right.
So if you're crazy, you can be grounded.
Makes sense, right?
Sounds reasonable, right?
Yeah.
But to get grounded,
Yeah.
you have to ask for it.
That's the catch.
And asking to be grounded
Yeah.
proves that you're sane enough to recognize the danger.
Right.
So you're fit to fly.
You're good to go.
It's a vicious circle.
It's brilliant.
It's a rigged system.
It is.
Yossarian is trapped.
Totally.
Heller uses these really vivid scenarios to show this.
No. Yeah.
Remember that part where Yossarian tries to redraw the bomb line on the map?
Oh, yeah.
Like, think about that. He's so desperate to get a mission canceled
I know.
that he's literally trying to make the target area seem too dangerous to fly to.
Right.
Or how about the constant pressure to increase the number of missions
Oh, yeah.
required for a discharge?
Eh.
It starts at 25,
Right.
then it jumps to 40,
Yeah.
then it's 55.
Keeps going up.
It's this totally arbitrary number that controls their entire lives.
And they have no control over it.
And it seems like the people in charge are more concerned with the number
Uh-huh.
than they are with the well-being of the men who are actually flying those missions.
Of course.
It's like that bureaucratic nightmare you were telling me about, trying to get those permits approved.
Oh, my gosh. Don't even get me started.
It's Catch-22 in action.
It is.
The rules are designed to keep you tangled up in the process.
100%.
You can never get to the end.
They're just stuck.
Yeah, you're just stuck in this loop.
That's Catch-22 for you.
And Heller brings this to life so well with Doc Tanika,
Right.
this character who just embodies this powerlessness against the system.
Yeah.
He wants to help Yossarian.
He does.
He wants to ground him,
Uh-huh.
but he can't.
Of course not, because of Catch-22.
It's like the rules are a weapon wielded against the very people they're supposed to protect.
Yeah.
And it's not just Yossarian and Doc Tanika either.
Oh,
The excerpts are just full of these larger-than-life characters.
yeah.
Okay, so we've got Milo Minderbinder,
Okay.
the mess officer,
Uh-huh.
who transforms into this capitalist mastermind,
Right.
running a global syndicate even though they're in the middle of a war.
It's incredible.
Milo's such an interesting case.
He is.
Even in all this absurdity,
Yeah.
he embodies this entrepreneurial spirit, just taken to an extreme.
You know what I mean?
He's making profits while the world burns around him.
Yeah.
So is Heller saying that even in the face of chaos,
Right.
human nature, in
Yeah.
this case, this drive for profit,
Mm-hmm.
just finds a way to assert itself?
It's a good question.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have Major,
Oh, yeah. How could we forget?
the squadron commander,
Right.
who's so painfully shy that he hides from everyone,
Even his own men.
even his own men. It's almost painful to watch.
But it's also hilarious.
And then there's
yeah.
Yossarian's tent mate,
Always up to something.
always tinkering, putting crazy things in his cheeks.
Crab apples, horse chestnuts. I mean.
I know, and crashing his plane on purpose.
But he always survives.
But somehow he always survives.
It's unbelievable.
He's a real enigma.
He is.
On the surface, he seems like the craziest one there.
Yeah.
But he's also the one who seems to be thriving
Right.
in the middle of all this chaos.
He's figured it out somehow.
Like maybe he's figured out a way to navigate the absurdity
Yeah.
by embracing it, by
Right.
finding his own little coping mechanisms.
Yeah. Maybe Heller is trying to tell us that in a world gone mad, a little bit of crazy is what keeps you going.
I like that.
Right. Yeah. It's like he's found a way to just make it work for him.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of crazy is what you need in a crazy world.
Right. Exactly.
So we've got Orr thriving in his own way,
Yeah.
and then you've got Hungry Joe, always on the prowl,
Yeah.
always looking for female company.
Yeah.
Seems like he's trying to find some kind of solace
Right.
in these fleeting connections,
Mm-hmm.
but it never really seems to bring him any lasting happiness.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot with these characters, these
What
anxieties.
days?
Played for laughs, of course.
Yeah.
But they point to this deeper fear,
Okay.
this fear of meaninglessness.
Right.
You know, losing your sense of self
Uh-huh.
in this world that just feels increasingly nonsensical.
And I feel like we see that with the chaplain, too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he's wrestling with his faith,
Yeah.
questioning the authority of the church.
Right.
And I think he's really struggling
Yeah.
to reconcile this idea of a just God
Uh-huh.
with all the horrors that he's witnessing.
Yeah, he's really grappling with some heavy stuff there.
It's like Catch-22 takes us beyond the humor
Yes.
and forces us to confront these big existential questions.
Totally.
You know, what does it mean to be sane in a world that seems insane? How do you find meaning when everything feels pointless?
Big questions.
Yeah. And all of these characters, in their own way, they become like
Yeah.
archetypes.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, archetypes for different responses,
Right.
you know, to these questions. Different ways of grappling with the absurdity of war and really the absurdity of the systems we all navigate.
Speaking of systems,
Yeah.
I think we need to dig a little deeper
Okay.
into that central paradox
Right.
that Catch itself.
Okay.
How does it function outside of this military setting?
Right.
Is Heller saying that we're all trapped
I think so.
in these kinds of situations?
I think that's one of the big takeaways here.
Yeah.
Remember that bureaucratic nightmare you mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah. With the permits?
Yeah, with the permits.
Yeah.
Think about how the process itself seems designed
Yeah.
to keep you from achieving your goal.
Yeah.
The rules shift.
Right.
The requirements multiply. And the more you push,
Right.
the more entangled you become.
Yeah.
Classic Catch-22.
It is. I think we've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of powerlessness,
Uh-huh.
the frustration,
Oh, yeah.
that's what really resonates.
And that's why Catch-22,
Right.
even though it's set during World War II, still feels so relevant today.
Right.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
that power structures, bureaucracies,
Right.
they can take on a life of their own.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
often at the expense of individual well-being.
It's like they're more concerned with maintaining the system
Yeah.
than they are with the people who are actually trapped within it.
Right.
Like Colonel Cathcart.
Oh, yeah. Good example.
He's obsessed with getting his picture in the Saturday Evening Post, even if it means sending his men on this pointless, dangerous missions.
Right.
He doesn't even see them as individuals, just tools to advance his own career. It's all about him.
It's that dehumanization that allows this kind of absurdity to flourish.
Exactly.
It's dark.
It is.
But it's so true.
But the humor, as dark as it is, acts as a coping mechanism, a way to process this absurdity without being completely overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. You need that little bit of lightness.
Yeah, you got to laugh
to get through it.
Right.
But it's important to acknowledge the darker side of the novel, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, the excerpts that we've been looking at, they touch on Nately's tragic love for a prostitute in Rome and the presence of her much younger sister.
Right.
That's where things get really disturbing.
It does take a turn.
Nately's genuinely in love.
Yeah.
But she doesn't reciprocate his feelings at all.
Right.
She sees him as a client. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
But it's more than just a sad love story, right?
It is. It's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Nately's whore, as she's called. Right. And her kid's sister.
Yeah.
They represent this collateral damage of war. You know, they highlight the way that war just seeps into every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Twisting relationships.
Right.
Corrupting innocence.
And that kid's sister?
Yeah.
He's almost like this symbol of lost innocence.
Yeah.
Of a future that's being destroyed by the violence of the present.
It's really unsettling.
It is.
And it makes you think about the long-term consequences, you know, the scars that war leaves behind, not just on individuals, but on entire societies.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
It really makes you ask the question, what happens to hope and innocence in a world that's ravaged by such brutality?
Big questions. How do you rebuild?
Yeah, how do you move forward when everything has been shattered?
Yeah, it's tough.
Tough question.
Yeah. And that's what makes Catch-22 so impactful.
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from those difficult truths.
Right.
Even amidst the humor and satire.
Right.
Yeah, it really forces you to think.
And as much as we've talked about the humor,
right.
I keep coming back to those moments of just stark reality. You know those gut punches that Heller just throws in there?
Oh, yeah, like Snowden?
Yeah, like Snowden dying on the mission to Avignon.
That scene is brutal.
It's graphic.
It's graphic.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It really drives home the cost of war.
It really does.
You can't forget that scene.
No.
The way Yossarian tries to patch him up.
Yeah.
Even though it's obvious there's nothing he can do.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
And absurd at the same time.
Yeah. And the way he keeps repeating, I'm cold, I'm cold.
Man.
It's haunting.
It is.
It's this reminder
yeah.
of how fragile life is. How quickly it can be taken away.
And for no reason.
So senselessly.
Yeah, that scene's not about heroism or glory or anything like that.
No, it's about...
It's about the reality.
Yeah.
The raw reality.
The rawness of it all.
Of death.
Yeah.
The trauma that war inflicts.
Heller's not glorifying war.
No, not at all.
He's exposing it.
He's showing you how absurd it is.
Yeah.
How dehumanizing.
But even amidst all that bleakness,
right,
there are these glimmers of hope, of resistance.
Like Yossarian deserting.
Yeah.
He's not a traditional hero.
No.
But he's choosing life. He's choosing his own sanity.
He's making a choice.
Yes, and it's an act of rebellion against a system
that
has become completely irrational.
Yossarian's a complicated guy.
Oh, he is.
You know, he's flawed, he's selfish.
Yeah.
But he's also capable of compassion.
Yes.
And even courage.
Remember when he tries to save Nately's whore's kid's sister?
Yeah.
He knows it's dangerous.
But he still tries.
But he's driven to protect her.
Right.
To shield innocence.
Yeah.
From the brutality of war.
That's a powerful moment.
It is.
Shows that even in all this cynicism and absurdity, there's still that spark of humanity.
Empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still there.
It suggests that even when you're surrounded by darkness, you still have a choice.
You do.
You can succumb to the catch.
Right.
Or you can fight for what's right.
You can fight for what's human.
And that's what makes Catch-22 so enduring.
So relevant.
It's not just a war story.
No, it's about all of us.
It's a story about the human condition.
Yes.
About navigating these systems that feel designed to break us.
They really do.
It reminds us that even when things are absurd, we have a choice.
We do.
Conform or resist.
Give in or fight back.
Surrender to the catch. Or find our own space.
Create your own meaning.
Yeah, find our own meaning.
Find your own sanity.
So after this deep dive into Catch-22, what's your final takeaway? What should people be thinking about?
Yeah, what should our listeners be pondering?
You know, I think the key is to recognize the absurdity when you see it. To question the systems that feel rigged.
Right.
And to find your own ways.
Right.
To resist.
Yeah.
To hold on to your humanity.
Right.
Whether it's challenging bureaucracy, speaking out against injustice, or just finding the humor in the face of absurdity.
Okay.
There are ways to push back.
Yeah.
Against the catch.
To find your own space.
Yeah, to make your own meaning.
To find your own sanity.
And maybe, just maybe, you can escape it altogether.
That's a great note to end on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Catch-22.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new.
Yeah.
And maybe found some inspiration.
Right.
To face your own catches.
Absolutely.
With a little bit more awareness.
And a little bit of defiance.
And maybe even a little bit of Yossarian-style defiance.
That's right.